All right. This season is getting good. So it's nice to see that Olivia is fighting back because she really wasn't that much in the first episode. As much as I love these two working together, this is also fun. However, I cannot wait till they get back on the same page and go after Senior. So this was basically a one-upping, this whole episode. Julian and Billy, that was just bizarre. I mean, it was like, let's find something for Julian to do. Oh yes, let's have Billy hound him because he never had a father, so he wants to get tips from Julian, and so he wants to hang out with him. Okay. Slight problem with that. Have you seen Julian's father? Does it look like he had something to, some role model to emulate with his own kids? No. No, he did what felt good. He did what felt right because, well, he certainly didn't get it from his father. And that's why and that annoyed me with Olympia, sorry, asking Julian, why did you do it? Was it under duress? It's like, how much he's been craving his father's attention. That was the motivation, not duress. I know that they were trying to tie it back into the case because that's how they do these episodes. But it's obvious that he was starved for his father's approval and he figured this was it. So I really, really cannot wait till we get to that conclusion. Joey made a quick appearance because first Alfie hates his grandparents because they're not helping out his dad, which is strange because he only looked him up because he was worried about the guardianship thing, the fact that grandparents are old. So that turn was different. I guess he feels he would get close to his mom by knowing his dad, which, fair. But yeah, it was just a strange turn. But like was mentioned, teenagers. So yeah. But because of Alfie, they realized, okay, let's offer him rehab. But they were also correct that it only works if the person wants to go. And Edwin gave him a motivation, being able to see Alfie. You'll see Alfie once you're clean. So, let's get to the main event, which is Olympia and... Oh, wait. One more B storyline before we get to the main event. Simone. So, we didn't see her last week, and I was kind of bummed thinking that they were dropping that storyline. I'm surprised that she doesn't have a problem with Billy. Because, he basically dumped her. So, Simone thinks that is going to try to blackmail Sarah because apparently it's an HR violation for her to take that case. So she wants Sarah to do her cases to do her work. And, you know, it's one of those things where the more you learn about Simone, the more you think, was Sarah the one who was insufferable in college, or was that you? I always had that inkling, but now it's obvious. So she's trying to figure out how to get out of it. And of course, she's coming up with all these cockamamie schemes, which Billy, I'm sure David was the one, not just that Billy found it amusing, but I'm sure that was all David could do to keep from cracking up. And so he's like, talk to Olympia. And she does, and so Olympia takes care of it. Now it's interesting with Billy and Sarah, she pretended to still have laryngitis. But with Julian, she didn't. So I guess that means Julian doesn't know that she's supposed to have laryngitis. But you're talking to him in a stairwell. Stairwells have great acoustics. They rank up there with bathrooms when it comes to acoustics. So people who probably shouldn't hear Olympia will hear Olympia and hear that her voice is just fine. But she let's back up. Maddie is trying to get, actually she got what she thought was the Wellbrexa documents. Olympia realizes that someone broke into her safe, and I put that in quotes because she obviously was expecting that. She's like, oh good, the documents are still there, only to find out all the pages are blank. So she confronts Maddie about it. Maddie is thinking, like I expected her to, that Olympia might be in on it more than she realized. It turns out she finally comes clean and says that she got it from Julian's safe deposit box, which how you could fit that huge document in a safe deposit box, but okay. So she is, basically telling her. She didn't tell her this right away, but she did eventually tell her that, when she's like, okay, we're going to the Times, you can still come with us. And she's like, oh, by the way, that's a fake. That's AI generated. The real one is in a safe deposit box in Connecticut, which, I mean, did you read parts of the document? Maybe she's lying because that seems to be the way they're rolling this season, lying to each other. But okay, so it's in a safe deposit box in Connecticut. And so she is pretending to have laryngitis, so Maddie will try a case so she cannot go to the Times. So they have to try to figure out a different time to have the interview. And the judge in the case is a huge Matlock fan. So I thought, okay, Maddie is in deep duty, but nope. And so Olympia and Edwin, I kind of figured when she's like, oh, you think you're going to let me go by myself? I kind of figured Edwin would be the one who. And apparently she did opposition research on Edwin. So she knows how his students tried to sweet talk him with Twizzlers and with, there was one other thing. I only remember the Twizzlers, but there was one other thing. And Edwin's like, yeah, they tried and that didn't work with them either. So she goes to the bank, and it turns out she kicked him out of the car at some point. She said a block from the bank, which I assume was the bank in Connecticut, and they live in New York. So now Edwin is rich. You know, he and Maddie are rich, so he obviously got a burner phone. So I'm assuming that before he texted Maddie, that he texted their driver to come pick him up. Because otherwise, that is one hell of a walk. He would not have gotten back in a day. No. So he must have called the driver to come pick him up. But that was mean of her. Not only did she drop him off, she took his phone. I mean, I realize that she's super pissed, that she's trying to protect herself and her family. But at the same time, damn, that's cold. So things keep escalating, and she threatens to take her to court because of all the crimes they did. And Maddie tells her how, oh, I'm an old lady, nobody's gonna believe you, I'm gonna have the jury eating out of my hands, and blah, blah, blah. And all that was caught on tape. She recorded it. Which, I mean, we know that Olympia's not an idiot. Especially now that she knows what she's up against. So you knew that she wasn't going to just let Maddie walk all over her. Did I realize she was going to record? Nope. But, they're thrilled that she's like, okay, I'm going to send you the documents. Oh, by the way, we have this recorded, so yeah, now Olympia is the boss. They have to do what Olympia says. Now, obviously, Maddie is really, really good at playing chess. So, I'm wondering what she's going to do to get the upper hand back. Or maybe they'll realize that, instead of trying to one-up each other, that let's work together. And yes, Julian hid the document. But like Olympia said, the big bad is Senior. Yes, Julian did what his father told him to, but he was, 26? He was still craving his father's attention. Heck, it was only until the end of last season where he was still craving his father's approval. And he finally said, you know what, fuck it, I'm done. So, yes, use that. This idea that this child, because let's face it, at 26, you're not a grown-ass man. Even though technically you're an adult at 18. No, you're not a grown-ass man at 26. So, use that. So hopefully at some point, one of them are going to figure that out. That they're going to figure out, okay, we can use that we can make this a sob story. Julian's a lawyer, so he should be able to, you know, be very dramatic about it and really sell how much he was trying to get his father's approval and nothing he did worked. So you could easily sell that. So there's that. Speaking of cases, this whole, like I said, every episode, the cases have something that ties into whatever's going on between Maddie and Olympia, or just what's going on with Maddie. So, oh yeah, and there was also that retirement party, which Evelyn asked Maddie to, you know, throw her retirement party when she's ready to retire. It's like, how old are you? Because Maddie is in her 80s, I think. I'm not sure that she'll be around. I mean, let's face it, she's elderly. You never know. You never know what can happen. I mean, you never know with anybody, but especially the older you get. So, yeah. And of course, Maddie's feeling guilty because she's like, She even told Billy, you know, I'm going to miss you. And she had to cover for the fact that she meant that, you know, he'll be stuck in newborn land. So yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting season. So, but back to the case. They have to try to figure out how to convince the jury that Dasha felt under duress, that she felt intimidated and scared. And the fact that nobody wants to testify kind of speaks to that. And in order to help Lev, you know, to keep him safe, but also bring that home, you know, try to knock it home, you know, that how scary this situation is, Lev basically pled the fifth, which, to be honest, would have saved him from being in contempt, but would still have gotten the point across. So I don't know why they didn't go with that strategy, but yes, I know it's to prevent you from self-incrimination, but, you know, it's basically the same as saying, I don't recall. But he was saying that to get it through to everybody that he's scared. But it wasn't enough, so they asked Dasha how to get to Alexei. And so she was giving them all sorts of pointers of what Alexei hates. And Maddie did every one of them. And until he just totally lost it, and the jury saw him for what he was, and they could see just how frightening he is. Now, being that this is Matlock, it's entirely possible that there are going to be no repercussions to his threats to Maddie. But then again, it could also come back to bite her in the ass. You know, this him threatening her family. So, you know, there's now Alfie and now Joey. So it's entirely possible that he might come after her. Last season, you know, storylines got dropped, like when she met the father of an old friend of Ellie's, who's also a junkie. And that storyline got dropped really quickly. She's just like, stay away from me. And we didn't see what happened, whether he found his son, what happened. So it's entirely possible that it's just threats, that it's used to prove a point, and that nothing comes of it. Or this could be used as a reason to get rid of a cast member. That's a possibility too. We still haven't seen Shay. I'm pretty sure she's in this season, and we haven't seen her yet. So that's interesting. Let's see, what else is there that I wanted to mention this episode? I think I've covered everything I wanted to this episode. So with that, I will see you guys in the next one.